For staying with us. Finance Minister Asad Umar faced some tough questions posed by BBC's Stephen Sacker in his program Hard Talk yesterday about the PTI government's economic performance. Well, Asad Umar stated that a very clear majority of Pakistanis think the country is moving in the right direction, despite the fact that austere measures have resulted in economic uncertainty for a lot of people. Asad Umar said that he should not feel ashamed for going abroad and asking for money because he understands the real economic challenges that the country faces. This is why he took the decision to step up another bailout program from the International Monetary Fund, for which the negotiations are still ongoing. Mr. Umar said that he became finance minister. The government reached out to friendly countries for bilateral financial assistance, as well as starting a dialogue with IMF simultaneously, because it had no time to first work out a strategy and then start negotiations. The finance minister also stated that both the monetary and fiscal policies were moving in right direction of reforms required by the IMF. The response to the question of criticism over Saudi Arabia's recent human rights record, Asad Umar said that Pakistan's relationship with Saudi Arabia goes back half a century and it had nothing to do with Yemen or even Khashoggi. With respect to investment under China-Pakistan Economic Corridor in Balochistan, the federal minister said that the provincial government was eager to enhance investment in the province under CPEC. He said Pakistan's debts, which are payable to China, were only less than 10% of its total debts, while the U.S. was the largest borrower, with over $1.3 trillion in debts from China. Well, to a question regarding tax reforms, he said the government took several new initiatives aimed at enhancing tax base and revenue for socio-economic development of the country. Well, now to further discuss the claims made by Finance Minister Asad Umar, we now join Mr. Hasaan Khawar, economic analyst. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Khawar.
Thank you so much, Ayesha.
Well, let me begin by asking you, Asad Umar claims that majority of Pakistanis think that the country is heading towards the right direction. After all the austere anti-public measures taken by the government, do you think that he is right in this claim, or would you agree with it?
So, Ayesha, I think what Asad Umar has done so far with the economy, I personally think that's the right direction. Whether majority of Pakistanis think that way or not, I'm not sure. And I think that these are the right steps because right now the country needed fiscal tightening, which has brought on by the increase in gas and power tariffs, as well as rupee devaluation to support the current account deficit, and then, of course, by increasing the interest rate. So I agree with him that these tightening measures were well needed, but I don't think that people in general share this perception because public is finding it hard to face the inflation and to pay the inflated bill.
Well, Mr. Khawar, Asad Umar also claimed that decisions of rupee devaluation, gas and power tariffs hike as well were taken before IMF's conditions. But there have been reports saying that IMF repeatedly asked the government to curtail losses and increase the revenue. So who's speaking the truth according to you?
Ayesha, I think the sequence of these statements are not important because, can you hear me? Yeah, I think the sequence of these statements are not important. What's important is that they have taken these steps. So you see, IMF came up with a few conditions to increase the gas tariffs, to increase the electricity tariffs, the devaluation, adoption of free float exchange rate.
So our next question will be, the finance minister also defended the friendly bailout packages from China and Saudi Arabia. How strong was his argument?
So I think I watched Asad Umar's interview with Stephen Sacker, and I think he defended the Saudi bailout package very well. And he emphasized that Pakistan and Saudi Arabia relationship are quite old. So I agree with him. The way he defended, you said Chinese bailout package, Ayesha, I don't know whether there is a Chinese bailout package. I think the questions pertain more to the CPEC. And I think he defended them well, that CPEC's investments are in Pakistani interest and are in Chinese interest. So I don't see a problem there.
Well, just recently, a lot of concerns have been raised by Baloch leaders as well over the province's share of CPEC development. But Asad Umar has dismissed such concerns as hearsay. Should the government not take everyone on board with such serious projects?
I don't think, Ayesha, these are hearsay. If you remember, a couple of days ago, a presentation was given by a CPEC center in Quetta to the Balochistan cabinet. And what they discussed was that Balochistan is getting a minuscule share of the CPEC project, and the figure they are quoting is roughly 10% of the CPEC portfolio. Even more alarming is the fact that only $1 billion has been spent on Balochistan, and a lot of talk has been going on that the Western CPEC corridor, which is passing through Balochistan, has been ignored. And I think these concerns are very genuine, and if we are interested for CPEC to be a sustainable project, I think we need to take Balochistan on board. Asad Umar quoted that the CM was with him when he went to China, and I agree with him. But I think the consultation should not only be limited to the Chief Minister, but should also be broad-based, and the general feeling in Balochistan should be pro-CPEC.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Khawar, for joining us. And once again, that was Mr. Hasaan Khawar, who's an economic analyst, discussing Pakistan's economy.